Somebody wrote in and said, I'm a parent using skills. I live in Tennessee, the last state to not have a mandate. Thank goodness for skills. I want to teach my son about other people's feelings. The other day, his sister fell off her bike and he laughed. What lesson in skills addresses that?
Well, skills is an immense tool, as I'm sure this parent knows who's already delving into it herself. So the first thing I would recommend, I mean, one thing I kind of noticed is that we don't know necessarily how old this individual is, but at the same point, I would start at the basics of emotions, which is in the cognition curriculum and skills. So you can find that. And emotions starts at a lower level, but by the time you get down a little bit further into it, which I was actually pulling it up to make sure that this individual, if they are listening, could find it. So if you're in the cognition curriculum under emotions, which starts out as a level 4, assuming that he's able to identify the basic emotions, once it gets down to activity 16, it starts talking about the causal identification of emotions, which then makes you kind of understand that they need to understand cause and effect too. Basically that, you know, the lights turn off. Why did the lights turn off? Because you pushed the button, kind of an idea, or you turned off the switch. Or why is it dark in here? Because the lights turned off. Those sort of concepts. So I would start out in emotions, maybe a higher level. And then I also would recommend you look into, the reason I'm looking away from the camera right now is because I'm actually looking in skills as I'm answering this to be as specific as possible. But the social curriculum, if you look in there, there's one that on level 2 is social referencing. And if you look down a bit, it talks about changing behavior in response to emotional expression. So I feel like sometimes our kids are, it's like misinterpreted. Like when I see a kid who's laughing at response to an emotion, like his sister falling off a bike, I don't think that he's laughing at her. I think that he or she is possibly responding to just kind of that there is a strong emotion and they're not really sure what to do. So that SD and social changing behavior in response to emotional expression might help out. It's activity 7. And then I think it's also just going to come down to some practice. So when I start using skills and looking at which lessons to pick, I think about how I'm going to do it. Do you want to talk about, okay, so when this happens, how is she feeling? Sad, and then kind of that problem solving, even of like, okay, well, what could you do? Can I give her a hug? Can I ask her how she's doing? A lot of this depends on obviously their interverbal ability to respond to questions like that. But between those 2 lessons, I feel like that's the starting point. And then you can delve further into the cognition curriculum too for the response to those emotionally charged situations. I think our kids, and that's just kind of a gross overgeneralization, but I think kids or people that are diagnosed on the autism spectrum have a hard time knowing what to do with it. And they're not necessarily cueing in to the fact that someone might be hurt or not feeling right. They just have that automatic response of, I don't know what to do with it, and they start laughing. So yeah, for the people that are onlooking that situation, they don't understand why. At the same point, I think we just need to spend some time teaching and breaking down the subtleties of those interactions and then practicing it. So looking at pictures in books, streaming YouTube videos of people getting hurt, identifying why they got hurt, and then what to do in those situations. Like maybe he would actually need a more concrete action of like, hey, do you need a Band-Aid? Do you want me to go call mom? Or, you know, what can he do? Can I give you a hug? a concrete response to that or action might actually help him navigate those stronger emotional situations too. That's my response to that one, Jana.
Okay, that's wonderful. I really appreciate that. Hey, thanks for watching Autism Live. To subscribe, click here. And if you'd like to check out some more of our videos, click here.